Last time, we ended off with Gine becoming the Super Saiyan God and facing off against the God of Destruction Beerus. Even though she ended up losing, Beerus still decided to spare the Earth. This time, after the battle between the gods ended, Goku was made by Chi-Chi to go back to tending the field. While out there, Krillin comes to talk with him and asks Goku to punch him, though this ends up with Android 18 having to treat the bruise left behind from this. During this time, Goku would be trying to think about how he could get the God power, while Vegeta and Raditz would be off thinking about the same thing. Meanwhile, Bulma and Tice would have been taking Whis to different restaurants to bribe him to save them if Beerus ever tried to destroy the Earth again. When Vegeta and Raditz returned, they tried to get Whis to train them by offering the tastiest food on Earth in return. However, all the restaurants the two Saiyans can think of, Bulma and Tice already took them there. Then, after failing to cook something of their own, they end up making instant ramen for Whis. So, the Angel then relents after trying it and agrees to train the two Saiyans. Over half of a year later, Gohan and Vidal's daughter Pan has been born. While Hercule and Gohan were playing / roughhousing with her, Chi-Chi and Gine show up. Chi-Chi scolds them for roughhousing with her, but Gohan says she can handle it since she is part Saiyan, and Gine agrees with him as well. However, instead of Chi-Chi not budging on her position that Pan shouldn't fight, Gine would be a good example of a girl being able to fight and not being a battle-loving idiot like Goku. Meanwhile, Bulma is still eventually pulled over by a cop, which turns out to be Krillin, for trying to chase after the robbers. Though even Chi-Chi relented, she would still be mad about how they were playing with her. Regardless, Bulma and Krillin are asked over to help calm Chi-Chi down, and Goten and Goku show up too. After she is calmed down and Goku learns about Vegeta and Raditz training with Whis, he decides to go and ask to train too. He also convinces Gine to come along too, so that she could spend time with him and Raditz, along with helping them achieve the God form while training. Though as Goku pesters Whis about the training, Gine scolds him for this and tells him to be patient. Regardless, Whis eventually goes to leave, and he takes Goku and Gine along with him. Once they arrive, Whis orders Vegeta and Raditz to take Goku and Gine with them to show them the chores they must do before they can train. The first thing they must do is to change Beerus' bed sheets without waking him up. After that, they must do things like scrub tree branches, clean the Oracle Fish's fish bowls, and to cut the grassy lawn. From there, Whis gives them new outfits for training, then gives them weights to lift. While lifting these weights, they must outrun the disappearing road behind them. Meanwhile, since the Saiyans are sleeping, Whis and the Oracle Fish discuss their training, where Whis explains to them that training in their base form would be best, and that they realize this since they haven't gone Super Saiyan yet. The next day the training is changed up to the point that they are ordered to fight with Whis, but he dodges every attack. Whis then points out to them that they think too much and need to master independent bodily reactions. In the meantime, out in space, on a Frieza Force ship, Sorbet handles a rebellion on Frieza Planet 448, while also discussing with Tagoma and Shishami the plan to resurrect Frieza. Though the ship is eventually stopped by an unknown force, it turns out to be Champa and Vados destroying the planet, before declaring it wasn't the right planet. Which at this time, Frieza is in a cocoon down at Earth's Hell being tormented by the Angels of Hell and stuffed animals. Back with Sorbet, since he can't find out where the Namekians are, he decides to go to Earth to resurrect Frieza, though he is warned that the ones that killed Frieza live there. Then back on Beerus' planet, during the training with Whis, he draws his signature on his clothes. He then goes on to give each of them some advice. He tells Vegeta that he is wound up too tight, and that Goku is too relaxed. He also tells Raditz that while cautious can be good, he is too cautious, and he tells Gine that while her peaceful nature isn't bad, it can be a hindrance too. Then while Piccolo is babysitting Pan, he notices an evil energy as Sorbet and Tagoma head for Earth. They still run into the Pilaf gang since they had gathered all the Dragon Balls. When they try to revive Frieza, Shenron refused to at first since he would be revived in pieces. Though Tagoma explains that with their machinery, they would be able to make him intact again. Shenron tells them that they have 2 more wishes. However, this time, they succeed at being able to revive King Cold with their second wish, though the third wish is still wasted by the Pilaf gang for the world's best ice cream. Sorbet and Tagoma then take what's left of King Cold and Frieza back to the ship, and have them completely restored. Since Frieza and King Cold didn't remember their henchmen, Sorbet and Tagoma had to reintroduce themselves. Then after the two tyrants described their time in Hell and how it was torturous for them, Frieza then decides to declare revenge on the Saiyans, but when the henchmen try to warn him, death beams are shot at them as he mocks them. Though they then reveal the Saiyans defeated Majin Buu, so Frieza decides that after training for 4 months, he will be able to surpass the Saiyans living on Earth. During this time, while the Saiyans were training, Whis gives the advice about keeping their ki inside, which, after taking this advice and after clashing blows, there's a flash of a blue aura from all the Saiyans. 4 months later, Jacko arrives on Earth and asks Bulma if she knew the ones that defeated Frieza. She reveals she does, but tells them that they are all on Beerus' planet currently. Jacko then warns her about Frieza and his army coming to Earth, so she tries to contact Whis with the bribe of a strawberry sundae to get the Saiyans to come back to Earth. Since this doesn't work, she contacts the other Z fighters. When Krillin gets the call, he has Android 18 cut his hair and bring him his gi, then he goes and gets Master Roshi. They then go to get sensu beans as well, and after heading to confront the Frieza Force, they run into Tien, Gohan, and Piccolo as well. While the army lands, Tien discusses that he didn't bring Shotsu because it would have been too dangerous. Gohan then mentions he had the Saiyan children stay behind because he thought they would have done something reckless. Krillin was also looking for Buu to show up, but Gohan says he's asleep. Then when Master Roshi asks if Gohan was still training, I believe he would have been, since he never fell behind after the Cell Saga, since Goku was still alive to encourage him to train. Though, he might have slowed down a little bit because of Pan being born, but he didn't completely stop. Jacko and Bulma then arrive, and she forces Jacko to fight alongside the heroes. Once Sorbet, Frieza, and King Cold arrive, Sorbet orders the soldiers to fight the Z fighters. Though it doesn't take long for Frieza to recognize Gohan, but eventually when he notices Krillin not fighting, he offers a planet to any soldier that can kill Krillin. Meanwhile, Beerus has Whis put the Saiyans inside his staff so they can train without interrupting him eating his pizza. After they take out the soldiers, Shisame is ordered to attack them, and he starts with Gohan. However, when Gohan is grabbed, Tagoma still shoots a blast through them, killing Shisame and almost killing Gohan, until Piccolo heals him and he is given a sensu bean by Krillin. It is still revealed that Tagoma was basically used as a punching bag, though he would be stronger too since King Cold was around. Regardless, when he powers up, the Saiyan children go to see who it is while Ginyu in the frog body appears out of Jacko's ship. Piccolo steps up first to face Tagoma, but his attacks unfazed him, so he eventually rips off his arm and pummels him, until Gohan comes to his aid. Then Gotenks and Kimi fly in, with Gotenks hitting him in the crotch, which Gotenks then challenges Frieza to a fight, but the fusions diffuse. Though as Frieza demands Tagoma to get up, Ginyu still tricks him to say, "Change now," thus causing them to exchange bodies, which he then approaches Frieza and explains everything that has happened, and how he was waiting for Frieza to return. Ginyu then goes to the Z fighters and attacks Tien, then Master Roshi, Piccolo, Krillin, and finally Gohan. Meanwhile, inside Whis' staff, they realize it was supposed to help them keep the ki in their bodies, and that it reminds them of the hyperbolic time chamber. Back on the Earth in the fight with Ginyu, since Gohan didn't completely fall behind on training, he isn't getting completely beat in his first form. Though he still does go Super Saiyan, once he tries to spare Ginyu, this angers Frieza. So, Frieza fires death beams into Gohan, basically leaving him in the dust. However, Piccolo jumps in and takes the last death beam for him, which Goten and Trunks reveal that Piccolo's ki can no longer be felt, thus meaning he died, so this angers Frieza. Gohan takes this harder than everyone else, which Frieza just laughs as this is what he wanted. Meanwhile, Whis takes the Saiyans out of the staff so that he can get more pizza for Beerus like he requested. Whis eventually sees the message from Bulma along with the sundae, so he passes on the message to the Saiyans. So, Gine then uses the instant transmission to take them back to the Earth, which, back on Earth, Gohan lost all his power, and as Frieza went to kill him, Goku arrived and knocked the blast out of the way. Which Frieza is excited to see Gine again, along with the other heroes being excited to see them as well. Gine then teleports Piccolo's body up to the lookout so that the Saiyan children can explain to Dende what happened. Ginyu tries to intervene, but Vegeta easily takes him down, which Frieza comments that he'll take Vegeta down after Gine. Regardless, both Frieza and King Cold transform into their final forms. We don't know what forms King Cold had, but I always personally believed he had access to the 5th form like Cooler does. Anyway, Gine would be the one facing Frieza, and as for King Cold, Goku would probably be the one to face him, since he was excited about fighting someone that strong, which, they both expected the Saiyans to turn into a Super Saiyan, but they claim they won't need this form. While the fight between them starts, the Saiyan children are sent up to the lookout so they can tell Dende about everything. Regardless, after their power struggle, Frieza tries to blast one of the onlookers to anger Gine, but this is easily swatted aside. King Cold's fight with Goku would be going like this, as he would be going blow for blow with Goku. However, since none of them use their full power, Vegeta comes in and interrupts the fight since them not going all out angered him. Vegeta then mockingly applauds Frieza and King Cold for being resurrected, which ends up angering the tyrants, but they decide to reveal their true power to each other. So, both Gine and Goku turn into their Super Saiyan Blue forms, then they welcome the tyrants to show off their newfound power as well. Frieza and King Cold wonders if that meant the Saiyans became deities, which they say they are close to one. Meanwhile, Jocko tries to take pictures so that the Galactic Patrol will destroy the Earth, so Bulma and Tights destroy his cameras. Anyway, back with the fight. Frieza tries to attack Gine first to see if it was even worth transforming or not, so both he and King Cold then show off their golden forms, with them both claiming they could kill the Saiyans in an instant with this power. As the four start to fight each other, Whis contacts Bulma and says that he and Beerus will be there in 4 minutes and 13 seconds, though they stop because they find Champa and Vados, but after talking for a short time, they go back to heading towards Earth. Back on Earth, the Saiyans and the Tyrants were having a beam struggle, so they go back to attacking each other normally right after. However, Whis and Beerus show up and demand the parfait right away, so they start to eat it instead of watching the fight. Whis then notices that they are having a hard time fighting the Tyrants, and as they say they'll kill everyone, the two eventually see Beerus there. They were worried Beerus was there to erase them, but he continuously reassures them he isn't, but says if they keep asking, he would destroy them. Then once the Saiyans were vulnerable, King Cold and Frieza start to attack them again, basically beating them into the ground. King Cold and Frieza start gloating as the fight starts going in their favor, but Beerus and Whis reveal the Saiyans could win if they worked together. Bulma and Tice try to convince their husbands to join the fights, but it's to no avail. After eventually incapacitating Gine, Frieza goes on to talk about how he would have been conquering the universe right now if it wasn't for her. Though, the two Tyrants try to land the finishing blow on the Saiyans, but it fails, as they realize they accidentally held back. However, shortly after this, Goku and Gine realize the weakness their golden forms have, so they try to spare them, but they refuse since they still think they are winning. So, as the fight starts again, it seems like the Saiyans are basically stalling for time and waiting for something to happen. Eventually, with them having seemingly won, they drop out of Super Saiyan Blue. The sorbet shoots both Goku and Gine once he realizes their guard is down. As Frieza and King Cold went to finish them off, Vegeta and Raditz intervene in the fight. As Krillin went to heal them with the sensu beans, they try to kill them with the death beams, but Raditz and Vegeta deflect these blasts. Vegeta would be pummeling Frieza while Raditz beats down King Cold, eventually causing them to drop down into their final forms. However, when they go to finish off the Tyrants, they try to blow up the Earth out of desperation, which Whis protects the people standing around him. Whis eventually rewinds time for them, as Gine kills Frieza and Goku kills King Cold. They then explain to Vegeta and Raditz why they had stolen their glory of getting to finish off the Tyrants. Beerus says this wasn't fitting of him to save the planet, since he is the God of Destruction. Anyway, Gine goes to New Namek and wishes for Piccolo to be revived. Then they go to a party to celebrate the Galactic Tyrants being defeated. While there, since Gohan felt remorse about not being able to save Pan and Videl, he asked Piccolo to help train him. Even though he did keep up on his training somewhat, he doesn't get to as much as he used to, so he figured this would be useful for him to go through. Which then shows Frieza back in Hell, as the Angels of Hell welcome him back home.